Hey, this is Joe. So I'm going to be working again on my Honda CBX. I'm going to get the frame ready for paint. So I've got pretty much everything off the frame. I'm going to remove the rear wheel to make it easier to maneuver, and I also have to get the rear swing arm off so that I can paint that separately. And there's a couple areas that I want to get to before I paint, and that'll make it a little bit easier. All right, enjoy. So as you can see, I've got the majority of the parts off the frame. So I'm gonna separate the swing arm from the rest of the frame, and that'll give me access to some of the pieces up front. I should be able to remove that bolt, and then I can pull the swing arm and wheel off. And now I'll remove some of the rest of the left rear set pieces and connections, because all of these should be removed from the bike before we paint. Let's see, this is an 8. I had loosened most of this when I was taking parts off earlier. All right, so this is actually pretty stable. So I'll leave this like that for right now, and then I need to do some repair on the frame. I'll remove some of the surface rust. Some of these holes I'm going to try and fill. So I'm going to try cleaning up a couple of these holes. So I'll grind down the paint and the metal around it, then we'll weld on top, and then we'll grind down, see if we can smooth it out. And you can see here that there is some issues with the paint. It'd be nice to just grind down this surface flat and get rid of whatever this stuff is, even if it's, you know, rust underneath. Would be nice to have this seat pan all smooth. All right, so now we'll try filling each one of these holes as we MIG weld. Okay, there's one. Again, these are not super clean, but we'll grind them down and we'll see how it looks. Now let's clean up some of the rust that's on other parts of this seat. Yes, you can see there was a bunch of rust under here that it looks like they just painted over, unfortunately. So the frame is pretty much ready for paint now. So I went and ground down a bunch of the paint that had rust underneath, so we're down to the bare metal. I also filled some of the holes, like where the last owner had mounted some of the turn signals. There were a couple imperfections, places where the frame had scraped the ground, so I went and just ground down a bunch of those, and then just cleaned up a bunch of other spots. So now I need to do a final cleaning, and then I can start spraying it down with the paint that I want to use for the frame. Next, I'm going to remove the kickstand, and I'm going to get the frame sitting on the ground. That'll make it easier for me to balance it once it's inside the paint tent. So I've got a tent that I bought for painting. It's nice because I can fit a motorcycle frame, motorcycle engine in while I'm painting, and pretty quick to set up. Alright, so I got the paint booth set up. So it fits really well inside of my garage. And here I've got the frame inside. This will give me plenty of space to paint. I do have to get the swing arm in here, and then it will help prevent overspray as well. And then also give it a cleaner environment to dry. So I need to do a little work on the swing arm. This has a couple holes that were drilled into it. I'd like to fill those holes. There's a bunch of surface rust here, and I don't know if the previous owner had just sprayed paint over this, but I'm gonna grind this down, that way we can get to the rust. I also need to get out this bearing. This is what swings up and down, and there is a nice little grease fitting here that ensures this is all greased properly, but I'm having trouble getting this out, so that means it probably was not greased and there may be a little bit of rust in there. So I think I'm gonna try and take bolts, screw them in, cut them off, weld them, and then smooth down on top. We'll see how that works. Alright. So we can see this is really jammed up inside. I have a piece of aluminum stock. I'll just use this to try and there we go. That's out. So it does look like there's a little bit of rust on that side. So we'll do our best to clean this up, and then we'll grease it before we put this back in. But it's nice that we're taking this bike all the way apart, because it's going to allow us to do things like clean it up and grease all the pieces that probably haven't been greased in maybe 40 years. There's still some good grease in there. So next, I'm gonna fill these holes. So I think these are the right size. So I'll get 2 of these, and I will screw them into the right spot. So we will weld from this side. So I need a place before I weld to attach this ground clamp. So I'm going to grind this down and use it. So now we're going to weld these two bolts in place. So next we'll grind these down a little bit. Okay, that's fine for right now. Now we can work on grinding down these bolts, this side of these bolts. All right, that should be good enough for paint. And we'll clean this with the pre-paint spray. This will help get off any dust and contaminants from all of our work. And I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna use a pre-painting prep spray. And I'm just gonna go through, make sure everything is clean before I paint the frame. So next, I'm gonna paint the frame. So I've got VHT roll bar and chassis paint. This is a gloss black. It doesn't require a primer. I'm gonna hit it with a couple coats and we'll see how it turns out. All right, paint says dries the touch in 20 minutes. Apply all coats with 1 hour, 10 minutes between each coat. Hey, thanks for watching. I'm going to let the frame and the swing arm sit for 2 days, let the paint cure. If you enjoyed it, subscribe and you'll get notifications when I release the next part of this project. Take care. Oh boy.